Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, the Red Survivor, and welcome to the game Valheim, a survival game released on February 2nd of 2021. It is a skill-based survival game centered around having to raise your skills in the survival world of Midgard. You are an aspirant of Odin, trying to become his champion to take on the war that he has going on, if you've read the text above. You, the aspirant, start out in a forest, the meadows. Now, I will explain over time what this game is, because I've played it and I enjoy it. Now, Valheim, the game, is centered around when you do a skill system. If you sprint, if you swim, if you cut down a tree, it's all skill based. So if you have a high enough skill, that's lower stamina. Now, what stamina is the way your character interacts with the world's movement. If you sprint, that is stamina lost, and if you run out, you get tired, you walk, you're hindered. And if you're swimming and you lose stamina all the way to zero, you take damage because your character's trying not to drown. If you jump, you crouch, walk, a lot of this stuff contributes to you being hindered because of lack of stamina. As you see here when I'm playing right now, you're an aspirant. You can create a character, male or female, have facial hair or have nothing. And yeah. Around me are the sacrificial stones. Now, when I get to the first boss, I'm going to explain. But you are going to need specific items to spawn these guys in. And each of them have their own unique set of abilities. This bird here will press C to walk if you want, but this bird here, Hugin, will explain everything. Welcome to the 10th World Warrior. I'm Hugin, sent here to guide you along your travels. The megaliths around you is the sacrificial stones. They represent Forsaken, which must slay in order to ascend to Valhalla. And what that means is you're having to kill the bosses you see here around you. Or be YouTube friendly, you have to defeat these enemies. Now what you saw here was a boss shrine. Basically, it reviews the location of the shrine of the boss you want to fight. So, he explains it, and you have to go kill him. But, how do you do that? Well, around this area here in the meadows, that's the default starter zone for the game, if you have the right seed. Now, to play it, it's like any other survival game. You press E to pick up, and you can choose to either pick it up automatically or do not. I have auto pickup on, so I can pick up things automatically. Now if you saw there a pop-up menu opened, that is the crafting menu. Anytime you collect a new item, a pop-up menu shows up saying what you can craft and what you can't. I can't craft anything because I haven't collected much materials, but let's go collect some. Now there's a few ways you can collect wood in this game. You can have axes, you can use your fists, or some popular methods is using a torch. The torch is a light source, of course, but you can also use it as a melee feature. It lights the enemies on fire for the on fire debuff, which damages over time the enemy. But it's increased damage upon things like a tree. It takes 3 swings to kill a tree to get its wood. And with wood, it's one of the main key components in this game. You can use it to build the basic first stuff, and with this using a fist, it takes longer because, well, your fist is not that strong, and this isn't Minecraft. That there is a greyling. They're part of the grave dwarf species, one of the many classes of enemies in Valheim. They're one of the weakest, but being early game, they can be the strongest because you do not have much to go off of. But in this early game, if you have a torch, you can use it to set them on fire, turn it off, and you can punch them because you can do a lot of damage to that. Right clicking is, or the alternate attack key, is your block. Now I'll explain that later if I get a weapon, but basically you can block enemies and you can't block forever, so keep that in mind. And your middle mouse button, or if you have a different button, is your special attack. For fists, it's a kick, and other than that, that's good. Now, you can stay around here all you want, it's a giant ring. It's probably, this is not a safe zone, but it has a lot of resources to pick up. So you can go around picking up the loot the game gives you, and you can just do whatever you want. As such. Now, this game doesn't function as other survival games do, to where nighttime is the pure defeat of your game. Nighttime in this game just diminishes your sight. You can't see as much unless you have a light source, which is the torch. Or if you build a base, you can bait all that stuff. That guy here, this bird, will always show up if there's something new you need to learn. So he's telling you about the inventory, which you push tab, and you show your inventory. Now your defense is the armor you wear. There is no tab where you can put on the armor, it's at inventory slots. You have to resource your inventory so you can plan what you want to take with you and not. This is the weight. The weight is how many things you can carry, obviously. So you can't have an entire inventory full of wood or you'd get slowed down. But you can increase it for time. Up here are the special ones. Here is the PvP. You can enable player versus player if you're multiplayer. Here are the trophies. It keeps track of what you do. This is your skills. Skills is based around everything you've done so far. I've sprinted, so that's got me up. I've jumped, that got me up. I've boxed, I've done a lot of. And this compendium is basically a guide on a lot of things. It's like a glossary of what you've done. But let's continue. Now, what I do in most survival games is I stockpile because the reason I stockpile is because I like getting a lot of resources so I don't run out, but it happens at times. But yeah. Now around Valheim, these are pre-made structures. They can be either buildings or farms or anything like that. And usually there's a chance of them having a chest in it which contains various of items, ranging from arrows if you want to be a bow and arrow user, to gold, which is currency, and other things that conclude to what you want to do. Now this game, if we're going to go on to the boast topic, is you can play as any style you want in a sense. If you want to use a bow and arrow, you can go. If you want to just be a punch person, a fist-to-fist unarmed combat, you can do that. There's a lot of weapons in this game and a lot of weapon styles, and you can go the way you can be a Spartan or a Centurion and go with one sword only, which that's effective if you're good at blocking with the sword. You can be a sword and shield, or a mace and shield, axe and shield. It's a lot of things you can do. As of right now, I am picking up needed resources so I can survive and make some stuff. Now, if you want to make yourself go faster, you can jump. You can sprint jump. It sends you forward flying, and you can only do it a amount of times unless you have a lot of stamina, but you can just kill these guys. Now, to make more torches, let's go with that, you need resin. Resin is dropped from these guys or enemies, or have a chance to drop from the beech trees. Beech trees are your standard wood trees. Now to craft, it's a basic system. You can go here, find out the resources you need right there, and these tell basically how good the weapon is. Now, while the torch is bad, the fire is good. 15 damage through 8 and 10. A lot of these are both weapons and utilities. The stone axe is for cutting trees, but it can be for damaging opponents, which is pretty good. It uses 6 stamina, so you can't use it, and it has a blocking everything. You can basically defend yourself. But here, down here, is the big one, movement speed. As in other games, you don't have movement speed hindrance, because you don't. But in this game, there are heavy weapons and light weapons that will hinder your movement. So having an axe is a heavy weapon that will hinder your movement, and you can't do much, but it's efficient for cutting down trees. Club is your melee weapon, it's another weapon. It's heavy-ish, but it weighs not much, and its durability is 100. It's blunt damage. Blunt damage is basically you're hitting something with a part of an object. It's not sharp, it's not pointy, it's just like a hammer. And it's strong at this level, but I usually go with a stone axe because it's a multi-tool. Your hammer does nothing. It does no damage, it does nothing. What it does, it basically enables you to build things. You can build a house, you can build many things, but it all comes down to if you have the right place to build. You can build by the water, you can build in the plains, you can build anywhere in this map except the water. Which I'd highly not recommend doing the water just because, well, there are enemies in the water that will do a lot of damage early game and you do not want to run into them. But I'm not going to go into that too early just because it's too early in the game and I wouldn't want to worry anyone that's new to the game. But, yeah, here's the map. And the map is basically as expected. Here's your game and... hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, but this is the map. The map of the world. It's a circle. This basically keeps track of where you've been. And if you're on a raven, you can see where you came from. All the way down here and dropped here. You can place some markers of where you want. And if you're playing multiplayer, you can select there and see where people are. And they can vice versa see where you are. But that's the map. Now up there on the mini-map, you can see a arrow. That arrow indicates where the wind is blowing. It's blowing that way, and yeah. Now I'll get to the wind in a later episode because that's based around a different kind of item to traverse the world. And if you already played it, you know, but if you haven't, well, I'm going to explain a lot of this in later episodes. But what I'm doing here is I am looking for a good place to build. Now, I am not a good builder, but I like to build in a place where it's flat-ish and overlooking a thing like a hill. But you can, but at times, if there's a good place, two good places, you can build a bridge and you can make a ravine. Now I'm gonna go look for a place, probably over here. Who knows? But this game, it's fun to play with friends, if you have any. And it's definitely a time killer if you play it. You can do a lot of things. Now, there are speedruns of this game. It's very notable about it, and yeah. Here is a good place you could build if you want. I might build here just for the sake of the gameplay, or I might expand out, who knows. But it is structure. These, let's build a hammer, since we have the materials. So you can move on with the hammer. The hammer is, like I said, is your way of building things. He explains all this, but I'll explain it here. When you have a hammer, you can build a workbench. This workbench is basically how you're supposed to build a base. And basically that one base I decided. But this is one of the abandoned structures, a mini hut. Now you can place the workbench down to enable crafting of your base, but you can also place it down and deconstruct this into your own little base. Basically you can take all the wood stuff. So an example is, you can use it to repair, it's an option, but if you do mouse 2, right click, or left click if you can make many things if you have the materials. Campfire is basically if you're cold, you're hot, this thing will do everything, but I'll explain to it when I get to the area. But these are the one of the two things you need for basically starting a house. Building is, but you'll log all these later, like right now. This workbench, that circle, the ring you see, is how far build limit you have. You can increase it by how many workstations you have. Place it down, and basically you have everything you need to know in this bench. It'll show you everything, and so going here again, you need a roof. So how it works is you can't place a crafting table outside of the zone. It's not protected. It's not anything. It's left out in the open. So usually, I'll say everything's in the house. You put this in Bluebird here. With that in there, you can now. It's half roof, but let's see what other place. So here, you can use, and you don't need much materials to repair. You can repair it there, but it shows you everything you can build. You can craft arrows on all this other stuff. You can upgrade your stuff, but you're going to see the star right here. A star is basically how your level your crafting is. You're level 1 crafting, so you don't have a lot. But, like I said before, it's another trick. You place it down, and if you don't want to go mining for trees, chopping it down, you can place them down, go to repair, and you can just start deconstructing this area so you can get wood. An easy way of getting wood, an easy way of starting the game if you want to go that route. And you can get a pretty good sizable amount of wood from this hut if you really want to deconstruct it like I am. To deconstruct things, you middle mouse click, or if you have changed it in your key binding settings, you can do it as such. I use my middle mouse click just because it's easier and accessible on my mouse. And it does take stamina, so you might want to be careful what you're going to do. There it goes. And we have a total of 47 wood. Now with the wood, you can make everything else, like if you want to. But that's not relevant. You can have a total of 50 stacks of everything. And it stacks on, stacks on, stacks on. But we're going to go into this symbol. It's the fork. Now, in this game, to get your health or stamina, you are going to need food. What food is used for is health regeneration, but it also increases your health and stamina. So I took damage because I fought those greylings. But if you right click these things, you can get health back. No. There you go. Now they're on a duration, so you can't infinitely eat. So you have to wait for the time to go down and eat. And it'll show you when you need to eat because the indicator will flash. But, yeah. I'm not going to do anything yet with this yet because I'm going to probably do that later in the playthrough, but I'm going to be making stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to need to make a place. Now, I'm not the best builder like I said, but I'm going to be, well, that's actually pretty good. Just I'll show that. But I'm going to be building a standard base. It's not going to be big, it's not going to be fancy, it's just going to be a starter base. Now what I usually do is I am a person that likes building simplistic looking buildings. My Subnautica playthrough would show it a lot, but yeah. Make a small little cabin that can house my stuff. Now I know if you're looking, oh look at the ground, well you can adjust that when you progress more. When you get an item called a pickaxe, you can mine stuff as usual, but you can also till the ground, basically make the ground how you heal. So you can make it low, you can make it high, you can make a hill, or you can make a hoe. I'm not being funny by that, but I can't do it because I'm not building a roof. But a hoe is basically, it levels out your terrain. It's one of the helpful tools of this game. Now, I'm going to try to build a fireplace because I want to explain that when I finish a lot of this stuff. I'm going to make it a bit higher, a bit wider than what you see here, so... It's getting to nighttime, so our vision is going to be a bit impaired because we're not going to be able to see anything. Because this game really shows you what it's like to be nighttime, but it's also really beautiful at nighttime. I can't complain about Valheim when it's nighttime. But oh, we're running out of wood. What do? We put our thing away, take out an axe, and we go. Now, with wood and logging, we go to skills and wood cutting. Wood cutting acts damage on hitting trees. Basically, for how high our skill goes, it's how strong our axe is. So our axe does three times the damage to a tree. And if you do your strong attack, it does more damage, but drains more stamina. But due to the wood cutting skill, you could probably take down a tree pretty easily. As such. Now, one thing with the tree, as you saw there, trees can hurt you if they fall on you. That's surprising, right? Well, if you cut down a tree and you're in front of it when it falls, it can, or most likely will one-shot you if you don't have a lot of health. Well, the reason being, it's basic logic. I think you would get seriously hurt if a tree were to fall on you, in general. Now, some of these trees are a bit fidgety because they're in the air, but you can, break it down and start to wail on the trees to get wood out of them. You can also do the stumps too if you want. It's extra wood, but I tend to leave some stumps just for the atmosphere of the world. I want a bit of, remnants of what the tree used to be, so here's some stumps going to be there. Now that guy there is going to be explaining the debuff I got on me called the cold. Now cold will make it hard to regain stamina and health. As you see, it's not that fast, and it's basically to telling you to get warm, get somewhere you can get, some fresh heat. And the torch won't do anything, sadly. The torch is just a handheld item. There's the tree. And yeah, the trees can go flying if you're not paying attention, but we can go forth. Chop down these trees and we can finish the house. Now, while we're making the house, I'm going to be going over the combat system so you can understand what you saw in the skills. Now, you can be a full-on melee person with just melee weapons, and that's fine. It's quite a common thing to have in this game, is to just be pure melee, but you also have to make use of what it does. So if you're using a sword, it's slash, and it's also all that. It's all about the stats of the weapon and your character. Now this playthrough, I'm going to be a bit versatile and use a... what's that? Oh, pigs. Pigs, you can tame pigs. Yeah, you can tame pigs. That's the thing you can do in this game, but it takes a while. And this early game, we're not going to be trying to taming things. We're going to try to just be living in a sense. Because I want to try to do taming in the next episode or two, just pets in general. You saw there I was hurting my own thing. I didn't want to do that. But pigs, they're a force to be reckoned with at these early levels. They can charge and do a lot of damage. You basically don't want to get hurt by them that much. But they do a lot of damage if you don't do it right. As you saw there, I got crafting items. Now you can't do anything default. You have to use your workbench. But since we don't have a house, you can't use a workbench. So we're going to continue building the base, and then we'll get to what I was talking about. We're going to be building a fireplace, like I said, because we, play to funnel the campfire. And I'll explain that when I'm done. So we're going to be building this house. Put that there, and it's going to be small, but that's just how my start stuff are. So I'll be putting this stuff down. Now this game is a bit grindy with resources. You do run out, and when you run out, you do have to go and keep getting your wood. But don't fret, because it's all around. I'm not going to say you can't run out of wood, you can, If you really, like, really want to go deforest your world, you can. I haven't seen it happen yet, honestly. Yeah, you. And there we go. Now I'm going to have to try to build a funnel. So we're going to down here so we don't have a floating island. If you can't see anything, that's kind of right. We need a bed. The bed will help us sleep, and basically what a bed does and what a bed do. Now when we keep building this base, you can, this game has a locking building mechanics. Basically it locks on, like a lot of survival games do, as Minecraft. You can lock on to the buildings. But we're almost out of wood, so we need to go out and get some more. We're also about to lose our hammer, but we have enough rocks and we can repair it. Now the early stages of this game are like this, where you are constantly having to craft items, so you can basically repair your own things. But for the sake of the playthrough, we are going to be building a but like I said, but for the sake of the playthrough, I hate that crits. But for the sake of the playthrough, we are going to be placing our crafting station in here. And with that in there, we go build a roof. We do have enough wood. Boop. There. And that we should have that, and we can repair everything, and we can go back and go on merry way. Now, I might make the roof a bit taller. Like, not like this. I'm just going to keep it there for reasons, but we go get 8 wood and I'll show you what sleeping is. You may know what it is, but if you don't know how it works, I'll show you. We're just going to get some wood. We need precisely 8 wood to make a bed. The world saves, yep. Now the world save, depending on your computer, the world save can either lag your game or you'd be completely fine. For me, it just freezes my game for a bit, but I don't mind it. He's always going to be there. He's sometimes annoying, but he's going to be telling you about what I told you about the cold debuff. Basically, you're really hindered if you're cold, if you don't have the items. But since we now have the wood, what are we doing stuff? Now we can't use the bed right now because we don't have a functioning home, obviously, and we don't have a fire. So we go here, build the fire, put it right here on our little cubby, and there we go. Now we can't do anything with the bed yet, because with the bed, we need a type of wall. Ooh. So you need a roof. Our roof is right there, but no, don't be worrying. Right click after you kill this guy because he wants to be in your room. Slice him to bits. Also watch out for your own home. If it's damaged, you can just right click, not right click, you can right click, repair, left click, and your building's going to be fixed. But it doesn't take resources. 4. Go here, we go building, we'll go with the inverse, 1060. And we'll be placing it right there. And then we'll be placing this thing right here above this. So we have a place to sleep. Now what I mean by it's too exposed, this side is exposed. You don't have, we don't have a full house. Might keep it this small, who knows, might expand in the future. But we're gonna make it not a big roof. I might expand it in the future, but just for the sake of the first episode, we're going to be keeping it one roof. And I'm going to try to be using first person camera, shoulder view camera for that, but around the world I'm going to be wide camera. Put this up for light so you can see what's going on. We're just cutting down a tree. And yeah. Now depending on the axes you get is how fast, honestly, you'll get the tree. I have the stone axe. It's a basic beginner axe you get, and you won't get much value out of it. But we use it, we get value out of it, and yeah. I might do editing within this so I can cut away the gathering the wood, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to see any of this, but we'll be doing so. Well, who knows, I might keep this in one take. This is a lot of takes, but yeah. We're going to be collecting a lot of wood so we can build the house. That's our main goal right now. Now, going with the wood, as you see there, logs can hurt nature itself. It can hit a tree that's still standing, and basically if a high enough damage, the tree cannot, you can basically have a domino effect with the trees. Yeah, and that's sometimes good or bad. If you have a lucky, if you have a good roll, you could deforest an entire forest with just one tree. I've not seen that happen, but I'm sure that has happened before to someone. I can't say who because I don't know that person, but I'm pretty sure that can happen. The tree. Now you may be wondering, oh, why don't you wait till your stamina? Just for the sake of playthrough, I guess. But since we have not much wood, we can go and continue building our base. You can remove this and make a corner piece. So you can make it a full roof. A full intact roof. Now another thing with building is that the position of the build. What I mean is, you can have a roof that's slightly off, which is not a good thing. Oh, word. And they may be wondering, oh, why is my screen looking like smoke? Is this fog? Fog is one of the natural effects. It's most common around the morning time. It's basically announcing good morning to the world. Now what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be making a funnel with our chimney. At the same time, we're going to need a way to cook. So we take you out, we're going to do this real quick. We take our number 3, we go to crafting, we go to cook station, place it in there, and that's how we cook our food. But so far, we're going to be doing our own thing. Boom, bam. Make stairs there real quick to make our own food. Stairs there, and now we have access to our cooking place. Unless I was right about my run thing, because I do make mistakes sometimes. I am human. Oh, can I get up here? Thank you. Right there, and I'm going to move my bed. I am going to definitely do that. I am going to move my bed because I don't want it near the chimney. So we construct it and move it probably on the other side. Furniture, bed, and there we go. Now the music's peaceful, I'll admit that. Okay, so there. No, we're not gonna make it like we're gonna make it we're gonna make it float a bit, but we're gonna make it to where we can still be able to cook, because we need to cook. And so we're going to keep building our chimney so we have a place to funnel out the fire, because you can get the status effect Smoky. What the status effect Smoky is, it's basically your character gets harm from inhaling the smoke of the fire. It's basically bad, which kind of makes sense, you know. So we're making the door. See right there, position, it's out a lot, so you can place it, pick it up, move it in place, and there you go. Now, if you're in build mode, you can't open the door, just easy to move the hammer, and there you go. And then since we have 11 wood left, we can continue with our building of our home. Now, you can't drag and click the materials, but you can just place them down. Now what the green line is, the green line is basically the locking mechanism. It's basically what the game is telling you what you can do, which is a neat feature. Without chimney there, we can't really do much, but I'm going to be basically finishing our house. We don't have the wood, so we go get wood again. Back and forth progress of getting wood and building a house while having a lot of mist and fog in your way. We have one wood, so we continue with our adventures. Now you can use, if you have a high enough chopping, to either one shot or two shot some of these trees. Oh, missed. Oh, missed again. You can't do that with those trees. Now one thing is I'm going to show is too hard. Some trees you can't use a stone pickaxe on because it's technically your axe is a bit too blunt for that type of tree. So you can't really use it that much. Now they can run away from you. I don't know why. They can't run away from you. I'm not going to be chasing them because he might come back and hit me, but yeah, they have a fear period and they have an awareness. Awareness is if you're sneaking around and they have basically a yellow dot over their head. Oh, it's a skeleton. Why are you here? Here's another enemy. Why is he here? I don't know. He's going to do a lot of damage though. Most likely. I don't know why he's here, but he's here. Bit of combat action. Now they will swing at you, and since he has bronze stuff, he will do quite a lot of damage. Don't know where he's going, but he's going somewhere. Can do it. Fire damage. Go back and basically try to train him. Because he will swing, he does have a wind-up period, so you can easily dispatch the enemy, and poof, there he goes. And you get your bone fragments. I'm guessing that Grey Dwarf was trying to fight the skeleton, pulled him all the way here, and that's how we got here. That's what I'm going to be saying. But we continue with our logging adventures, and yeah. Oh, it's a boy. I'm going to go over one more thing with combat before we do it, because I want to do combat in the next episode. Oh boy. Never mind, but I'm going to be getting to combat probably next episode, if I ever remember to do this, but yeah. But if we get another Grey Dwarf, we're going to be showing that. The music's so peaceful. Can't get over it. It's a good soundtrack this game has. So we got enough wood. For now, we're going to be going over there to our base. If you can't see it, you can also mark it on the map. So I'm going in here. We're going to be in here. We're going to be placing a marker on our base. That's not what I wanted. So, home. And there you go. 12 is this, and let's get to finishing our base. Now I might either will edit out this part of me building the base. I might not. It really depends on my mood. Excuse me. It really depends on my mood. So if I don't edit this out, I guess the mood was I don't want to edit it out. So I do a lot of one takes. So that may be an issue. Yeah, it's a bit uneven, but it's how we build our base. Like I said, I'm not the best builder in the world, but I try. Even if that trying is more lackluster. Trying is at least good. If you know what you're doing, there shouldn't be an issue. But there will be those people who might have an issue. So, there's an easy solution. To me, there is. Make it a bit logical. Place the roof there. If I even can. I might not be able to. Let's try that out. Place you there. Put the space there. There we go. And then you place a cap up there. Now there may be a hole there, but that's probably just me going to be designed. But here's the thing. With that floor there, this is not a complete house. Because that's considered a floor. So what we will do is we'll place another roof there. We're going to make it align with our chimney. There we go. And now we have a house. Not the best, but I'll improve upon it later. But now we have a house. Now, as you noticed in the bottom left hand corner that we have one raspberry. I'm going to go into cooking. Now, depending on the cooking you have, there's meat. And the meat and fish, and it all determines on which half. We have boar meat. You can put here, cook item, and wait for it to cook. It takes a few seconds, but yeah. It's early game best. You can get better. But we just casually wait. And there we go. We got one there. The other one fell. Oopsies. Ow. Yeah, you can get on fire. Set on fire, you get on fire, basic logic. Yeah, that's what it is. Let's go to crafting. After we pick up the wood. Crafting, we can repair all our stuff. And do all of this. You can make a shield. You can make a bow. You can make more armor. All this. You can upgrade everything. But yeah. Not a good looking base, but it's a start. We're going to be making it better in the future, I promise. Going on to the food, you can right click it. Right click it. And I have more stuff. And then here we go. Fun game, relaxing game. I'd recommend it. It's on Steam. It was nominated for the best multiplayer games and the best debut indie game of 2021. So yeah, you can sleep, you can do all this, you can set your bed, and all this. But that's all the time I have for now. Hope you enjoyed. I do hope that this little first episode gave light on how to play the game. for new players. And if you want to see another episode, I'll make one. Probably if I'm bored or if I want to record something. Now, I'm going to be signing off soon after I finish this. Because I don't like my buildings floating. There we go. Yeah. Like I said, thank you for watching. I know I haven't made any videos in the past a few years, but I want to get back into it. And yeah. I've been your host, the Red Survivor. This has been Valheim. And yeah. Have a wonderful day, evening, or afternoon.